Donald Trump, former President of the United States, finds himself at the center of yet another legal quagmire. His ongoing battle with the New York Attorney General Letitia James over a civil fraud case has reached a critical juncture, with the potential to strip him of nearly $500 million. For over a decade, Trump allegedly inflated his assets, deceiving financial institutions and regulators, only to be caught in a massive fraud case that could upend his empire. The verdict, first issued by Judge Arthur Engoron, has now moved to the New York Appellate Division for review, where a panel of justices is deciding whether the eye-watering $500 million judgment will stand. This isn't just another legal proceeding. It's a high-stakes game for Trump, whose real estate empire and brand are at risk. With years of court battles behind him, the odds may be stacked against the former president, but he's never been one to go down without a fight. His legal team is banking on a Hail Mary play, hoping to reduce or even overturn the massive judgment, arguing that the punishment is disproportionate to the alleged crime. The courtroom drama unfolding in New York has garnered national attention, not just because of Trump's larger-than-life persona, but because of the massive financial implications. With $500 million hanging in the balance and the potential sale of Trump Tower looming, this case is set to redefine Trump's legacy in the public eye and may even affect his political future. In this in-depth video, we'll explore how Trump got to this point, the legal mechanics of the case, the current state of the appeal, and what the outcome could mean for him. Trump's legal tactics, decades of fraud or simple miscalculations. Donald Trump's business dealings have always been shrouded in controversy, and this case is no exception. The New York Attorney General's office, led by Letitia James, has accused Trump of engaging in persistent fraud over the course of a decade. This fraud allegedly involved inflating the value of his assets on personal financial statements to secure more favorable loans and insurance terms, effectively ripping off the people of New York and various financial institutions. For Trump, this is familiar territory. He has long boasted of his ability to think big when it comes to his financial ventures, but according to James, this mindset crossed legal boundaries. Her office invoked a relatively obscure but powerful New York statute, known as Executive Law 6312, which grants the state attorney general broad powers to crack down on corporate fraud without needing to prove direct harm to any specific victim. James' office meticulously laid out its case over several years, relying on a mountain of evidence that included financial documents, witness testimonies, and depositions. One of the most damning pieces of evidence came from Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, who testified that Trump frequently manipulated his financial statements to inflate his net worth, sometimes even giving different figures to different institutions depending on what would benefit him most. According to Cohen, Trump's tactic was simple. If he wanted to be worth $4 billion one day, he'd tell his team to adjust the numbers accordingly. And adjust they did, often by astronomical amounts. But Trump's defense team isn't buying the argument that these financial statements amounted to fraud. They argue that the valuations of real estate assets can be subjective, fluctuating based on market conditions. Furthermore, they claim that the parties involved in these transactions, banks, insurance companies, and other sophisticated entities, were not harmed because they still profited from their dealings with Trump. The crux of Trump's defense is that the punishment doesn't fit the alleged crime. A $500 million penalty, they argue, is excessive, especially since no direct victims have come forward claiming they were financially ruined by Trump's dealings. After years of legal wrangling, the case finally went to trial in 2023, overseen by Judge Arthur Engoron in Manhattan's New York Supreme Court. Engoron handed down a staggering judgment of $456 million, ruling that Trump had indeed engaged in persistent fraud under Executive Law 6312. The judgment was later adjusted with daily interest rates of $100,000, pushing the total closer to $490 million at the time of the appeal. Now, Trump's legal team is attempting to overturn or reduce this judgment in the New York Appellate Division, First Department. 5 justices are tasked with reviewing the case, and their decision could make or break Trump's fortune. As of the oral arguments, which took place recently, the panel appears divided on the issue. Justice Peter Moulton, one of the key voices on the appellate panel, expressed concerns over the size of the judgment during oral arguments. Moulton questioned whether the massive figure was in line with the spirit of the statute, which was originally enacted in the 1950s. Moulton's remarks echoed a larger theme in Trump's legal strategy. Is it fair to impose such a steep penalty when both sides of these financial deals were sophisticated parties who understood the risks involved? On the other side, the New York Attorney General's office argues that the judgment reflects the magnitude of Trump's deception. They contend that Trump's scheme was so vast and so successful that it warrants a historic punishment. In their view, reducing the judgment simply because the fraud was on such a large scale would set a dangerous precedent, allowing wealthy individuals to engage in massive fraud with only minor consequences. Justice Salian Scarpella, another member of the panel, appeared more sympathetic to the Attorney General's argument, emphasizing the need for accountability in cases of large-scale corporate fraud. However, the justices must reach a majority decision, and it's still unclear whether they will fully uphold Engoron's judgment or reduce it. The legal battle isn't over. What happens next? Regardless of how the appellate division rules, this case is far from over. Both sides have indicated that they will likely appeal the ruling to New York's highest court, the Court of Appeals, if they are dissatisfied with the outcome. This means that the legal battle could drag on for months or even years, keeping Trump and his business empire in a state of uncertainty. If the judgment is upheld in full, Trump will be required to pay nearly $500 million within 30 days. Failure to do so could result in the sale of some of his most prized assets, including Trump Tower in Manhattan. The prospect of Trump losing his flagship property is not only a financial blow, but also a symbolic one. Trump Tower has long been a symbol of his wealth and success, and its potential sale would mark a significant fall from grace for the former president. On the other hand, if the judgment is reduced, Trump's legal team will claim a victory, but the former president will still face a substantial financial penalty. Even a reduction to $200 or $300 million would be a significant hit to his finances, particularly as he continues to face mounting legal bills from other cases. The larger question is how this case will affect Trump's political future. With the 2024 presidential election looming, any major legal defeat could damage his reputation among voters, particularly those who have supported him based on his image as a successful businessman. However, Trump has proven resilient in the face of scandal before, and his supporters have shown a remarkable ability to overlook his legal troubles. A looming election and political implications. As the clock ticks toward the 2024 election, this case could play a pivotal role in shaping Trump's public image. For his detractors, a massive financial judgment could serve as further evidence that Trump's business acumen is built on a foundation of deception. They will likely argue that if Trump can't even manage his own finances without resorting to fraud, he is unfit to lead the country again. For Trump supporters, however, the case may be seen as just another politically motivated attack on their candidate. Throughout his presidency and post-presidency, Trump has consistently framed legal challenges as part of a broader effort by the deep state to undermine his success. If the judgment is upheld, Trump will likely use it as further proof that he is being unfairly targeted by political enemies. This dynamic could create a rally-around-the-flag effect, energizing Trump's base and making him even more popular among his core supporters. At the same time, it could alienate moderate Republicans and swing voters who are tired of the constant legal drama surrounding Trump. The timing of the appellate court's decision could also have a significant impact on the election. The justices are expected to issue their ruling sometime in October, just weeks before the November election. If the ruling is unfavorable to Trump, it could dominate the headlines in the final stretch of the campaign, distracting from his policy message and giving his opponents more ammunition to attack him. Donald Trump's legal battle with the New York Attorney General has already been a long and arduous process, but the next few months could prove to be the most crucial phase yet. With a $500 million judgment hanging in the balance, Trump's business empire and political future are both at risk. Whether the appellate court decides to uphold, reduce, or overturn the judgment, the decision will have far-reaching implications for Trump, his supporters, and the American political landscape. As Trump fights to protect his assets and his legacy, the stakes couldn't be higher. His Hail Mary legal strategy may be his last chance to avoid a devastating financial blow. But even if he succeeds in reducing the judgment, the damage to his reputation may be irreparable. For now, all eyes are on the New York Appellate Division as the former president's fate hangs in the balance. Will this be the end of Trump's financial empire, or will he once again emerge victorious from the legal battlefield? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The world is watching, and Donald Trump's next move could be his most consequential yet.